Tell me why it's been like 10 months and to this day I still wake up and the first thing I want is like freaking nicotine. What's good, YouTube? I'm back today to talk to y'all about my nicotine addiction. I sound a lot more excited than I should be about being addicted to nicotine. I'm not that excited. It's actually been really hard. If you guys have been following me, you guys know that I have a slight addiction to nicotine and that I've been trying to get off of it for about 10 months now. I wouldn't say trying to get off of it, I would actually say that I've been moderately successful. I actually was introduced to cigarette smoking through vaping, which is weird like to think about because oftentimes vaping is considered to be like an alternative to cigarette smoking. So it was my freshman year of college and I came in and everyone had like these big, like the big mod vapes that blew like these big ass clouds. Keep in mind, this was like 2015, so it was like kind of the big thing that was around, and I never had one, but I always used to like kind of bum it off with some of my friends and like kind of like fuck around with it that way. I think a big thing that was like kind of in tandem to that, I started to smoke like cigarettes like at parties. So when I go to like frat parties or like go to parties or friends' houses, people would be outside congregating smoking cigarettes, and I never saw myself as a person who like wanted to smoke cigarettes. It definitely does run in my family, so I should have probably seen this coming. I don't know. So I started smoking, with parties, with vapes, like all of that sort of socially. I think that it wasn't like I wasn't smoking cigarettes again, like I was only doing that at parties. So it was really the vape that I was doing like any of the other times. And it came to the point where like I wasn't necessarily addicted yet, or I didn't even realize like that I was. It was like probably a few months into my freshman year that I was feeling kind of off. And I can't like, it wasn't like a big feeling of being off. It wasn't like, it didn't disturb my life, but I did notice that like I was like something in the morning, like when I wake up in the morning, something just doesn't like fit right, something doesn't feel right. And I was like, maybe I need coffee, or maybe like I'm just tired, or I don't know, something's weird about my life. And it was funny enough, it was actually really early before a debate tournament, because I did debate in college, like completely unrelated, but this guy on the debate team passed me a cigarette. Not passed me, but I was like, let me bum a cig. And it was then that like that cigarette, I was like, holy shit, this is what I've been missing. Like I haven't had a cigarette because I hadn't gone out like to parties in a while, so I guess it had been a few weeks since I had had a cigarette, and I really just like, I didn't connect the dots between like me feeling kind of off or antsy, or like it wasn't like a significant change. It's weird. And then when I had that cigarette, I was like, whoa, this is what I've been missing, yo. Like, and it was from that point on where I was like, I didn't jump right into cigarettes. I jumped into vaping, and I was like huge into vapes. See, I wasn't like huge into like doing tricks or like super into it that way. I just wanted like the nicotine consumption, and I thought that vaping was like a clean way to do it. Yeah, so I fell into that trap, and it came to the point, this was sophomore year, maybe beginning of junior year. It was about a 2-year period, like maybe a year and a half, where like I would just buy packs of cigarettes. I was in London, so I would roll packs of, like I would roll cigarettes. I was just smoking like straight up tobacco for like a while. And like I say a while again, like I know there's people who have smoked cigarettes for like decades and shit. So it wasn't like a while, it was like 2 years. And then from that is when I went to the Juul, because I came back from Europe and the Juul was like here and created, and it was like, oh, this is like an even smaller form of like those big box mods that has like high concentrations of nicotine. So like, let me just like use that instead, because like it's like the best of both worlds. It's small, compact like a cigarette, and I can take it places, and like it hits me like that. I think a big part for me was that like nicotine really did like help ease like how, not like my anxiety was so like prevalent at the time. It wasn't like how it was now, where like I noticed that this is anxiety, or this is a panic attack, or this is an anxiety trigger. It sort of became, if you saw like my shift review last week, this is like a breathing tool. It sort of just became habitual in the sense that like I grab my keys, I grab my wallet, I have my vape, or I have my Juul, or my cigarettes, or I have like my nicotine producing device. And like if I'm walking to class, I'm listening to music and I have my nicotine. If I'm doing work, I have my music, I have my nicotine. If I wake up, I start playing music to get ready in the morning, and I have my nicotine. If I'm driving somewhere, I have music and nicotine. So it became sort of like just a part of my life, and I think it slowly grew to the point where I didn't even realize that I was addicted until like now. I stopped like juuling in August, and I stopped until like December. I didn't have like any nicotine, didn't like try it, didn't like indulge. And then I got to Chicago and I was with friends. It was my birthday, everyone was there, like we were all like hanging out, and I was like, you know what, I've stopped for like a few months, why not just indulge like I used to for social settings. So like I had a like cigarette, or I had like vaping, or like I was doing that like kind of in Chicago like socially, and it was just that, it was just social. I think that I never hit a Juul because I didn't want to go back to that. I never, to this day, I still have not hit a Juul. I'm kind of terrified of that just because it's like highly concentrated nicotine, and I'm afraid if I hit that, I'll be like, you know what, screw this living with no nicotine lifestyle, I'm gonna go back to that. It was that kind of slip up in December where I thought I could just have it socially and just like use it socially, where like I thought I would be good, and then it slowly evolved. And the point I'm trying to make here is that like I tried to trust myself, because some people really do. I do have friends who are like not really addicted to nicotine, in the sense that like they really can vape or like smoke or whatever like type of device you want to use. They can really only do that when they're out like at parties. They won't do it just like normally and like when they're like fucking in the shower, or like on like just doing normal life. I don't know, there's been like weird times where like I've hit a vape, or like I've had cravings just doing like the weirdest things. But I wanted to make this video because you guys have been asking me a lot about like how I've been doing with like the nicotine addiction thing, and it's like I kind of slid back, so I didn't really want to talk a lot about it because I felt bad, because I was like, you know, I'm doing so good. I went from August to like December with no nicotine, and now I'm like kind of indulging again and like it's not okay, but like I was rationalizing it as being okay. But you know, I'm no longer doing that anymore. No more nicotine at all, not even like a little bit, because that's how I fall back into those patterns. And I'm really trying to be healthier with myself. I think a big part of it is that I tell myself like, hey, everyone has their vices, like this isn't so bad, like, you know, you can just do it a little bit. And then like it turned out to be like a whole bunch of it, like every single day. And then that's like how you slowly die from like cancer, or like your lung falls off. I don't know, things I'm just all trying to avoid. I thought like this video would be important because like today, and like just for the last week, I literally have been waking up with the worst cravings. I don't think it's withdrawal in the sense that like when I first like got off nicotine, like from using it every single day for like years, I felt like physical withdrawals. Like I was like, my stomach was upset, I had headaches, I had like shivers, I was agitated, like it was all these physical things. Now I still do have like these physical cravings, like this morning was a physical craving, but it didn't feel like, I wasn't as on edge. But the fact that like these cravings are now back because I started using again, it's like, fuck man, like I got so far without having to deal with any of this, and now it's back, and like every single day it's just now another battle, to the point where like I really want nicotine. Like I need it, but I don't. It's okay. Yeah, so stay strong out there. I've found that for me, running has helped a lot, as well as this device, and that's sort of where I'm at right now. Running and deep breathing, and actually I've been doing yoga. That has helped a lot too with like cravings, and just like trying just to ignore them. Like when I hear like my thoughts in my mind saying like, you know what would be really good? Nicotine. I just try to ignore them, and that sounds a lot easier than it actually is. All right, y'all, I will try to update y'all in the coming weeks about like where I am going. Hopefully I can update y'all with some good news. And yeah, remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I love to hear from you guys. All right, peace and stay safe.